Bonjour tout le monde. Today we are going to look at how to form le passé composé avec être. So in today's video we're going to look at how forming the passé composé with être is slightly different to how we formed it with avoir. So again, passé composé, it's two parts. Yay, we've already figured that out. We've got our auxiliary, but this time the auxiliary is using the verb être instead of avoir. And we've got our past participle as well, which is going to look maybe a little bit different than what we saw in our video on avoir and passé composé. So in this example, we're looking at je suis allé. So suis in this example is our auxiliary. It is the present tense of être, and aller is our past participle of the verb aller. So how is passé composé with être different? Well, with être as our auxiliary, that changes a couple of things for us in forming our past participle. Mainly, the past participle can change depending on the gender of the speaker and the number of people who are speaking. So in our first example, je suis allé, you can tell that it is a male speaker because we haven't changed the formation of our past participle at all. However, in our second example, je suis allé, it gives you an idea that it is actually a female speaking because we've added an E on the end of aller. In our third example, ils sont allés, we can tell that it is a group of people, partly because, we've got il as our subject, but because the S is added onto the end of aller, and we can tell it is either a male or mixed group because we have not added an additional E. Our final one, elles sont allées, we have added an E and an S, which tells us that we are talking about a group of females. So to help us with part one of our passé composé, let's just quickly revise how do we conjugate être in the present tense. So we have je suis, tu es, il est, elle est, on est. Remember, on can mean we informally or one. Nous sommes, vous êtes, ils sont, elles sont. So we've figured out how to form our auxiliary, how to form part one of passé composé with être. Now we need to think about how to form part two. But first, we might ask ourselves which verbs actually use être in the passé composé. To make it easier, we have made an acronym, which is Dr. and Mrs. Van der Tramp, which actually represents all of the main verbs that use être in the passé composé. Keep in mind that reflexive verbs also use être in passé composé, but we will not be looking at those ones today. So first of all, we have devenir, we have revenir, monter, rentrer, sortir, venir, arriver, naître, descendre, entrer, retourner, tomber, rester, aller, mourir, and partir. And you'll see on the side that I've actually got the past participle for each verb as well. So devenir becomes devenu, revenir becomes revenu, monter becomes monté, rentrer becomes rentré, sortir becomes sorti, venir becomes venu, arriver becomes arrivé, naître becomes né, descendre becomes descendu, entrer becomes entré, retourner becomes retourné, tomber becomes tombé, rester becomes resté, aller becomes allé, mourir becomes mort, and partir becomes parti. You will have noticed that some of those verbs had irregular past participles, so that's why it's important to learn them. Now we're going to finish off by looking at a couple of examples, just to see how, first of all, we form part 1 with être, and also how we form part 2 with our past participle. So our first example, she went down, elle est descendue, that's from the verb descendre, and we have actually added an E because our subject is female. Our next one, they were born, ils sont nés, we've added an S because it is plural. They died, elles sont mortes. So here we can tell from elle that it is all female and plural, so we've added an E and an S. I came back, je suis revenu. By adding an E, it indicates that the speaker is female. He returned, il est retourné. Notice how with il est retourné, because it is masculine, it is singular, we haven't added anything to our past participle. And finally, you entered, vous êtes entré. We can tell from the vous that it is plural, and it is also a mixed group because we have not added an E. Et voila, there you have it. That is just a quick little recap about how to form le passé composé avec être. Merci et à la prochaine.